I was a reporter and I was reporting on your guys' life. What would it look like when the day showed up when marriage was gotten right in your guys' perspective? What are some of those elements? Yeah.
Well, one of the things is, and of course, they send us a lot of information. They've done some great own research, so we went and read that, and so we got to discuss it, and so we're trying to be prepared.
Yeah.
And part of that is you ask about one or two things that allow us to keep on a hold of that.
Totally. Yeah.
And one of our big things is we're going to have disagreements.
Yeah.
And we're going to do things that we're totally two different people.
Yes.
Right.
I'm a male, she's a female. She's awesome.
Well,
I
we've
can somewhat be awesome.
From completely different backgrounds.
Totally.
So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everybody
Life,
does, right?
everything, and that's our makeup is who we are, is our past, and how we react to it. But we don't take one moment and make it everything.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Right.
And so many times we see, even with, so we've got older kids.
Mm-hmm.
Oldest is 27, and so forth. And then we have one that just got married. We have one from Nigeria, and he just got married. And we're watching their dynamics with their relationships. And then we've got a couple that have boyfriend and girlfriends, and we watch those things. And so many times they'll get in an argument.
Yeah.
Something silly.
Right.
And that becomes such a defining moment in their life.
Right.
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 And if you make that such a defining moment, then that leads to the next argument.
Yeah.
Usually.
Mm-hmm.
Or you store it up for later, and then you think that you've resolved it, but lo and behold, you start to have this argument, and then all these things come rolling out, and it's like, this person is the worst person in the whole wide world, and the one I love the most. It's like, well, how does that exactly work?
Yeah. Right.
And we believe we're a team.
Yeah.
And so, take sports analogies or whatever you may, and you may have a bad play, and you may fumble the ball, or you may, whatever may happen.
We do plenty of.
You don't go back to the huddle and say, hey, let's fumble the ball again.
Right.
Yeah.
Or storm off the field and be like, that's it.
That's right.
Yeah.
We win the game.
Fumbled, yeah.
Yeah. And so in our life, we may make a fumble,
Yeah.
but it's not defining us because we're on the same team. We still are absolutely on track to make sure that this works. And so we identify that problem as what it is. It's just that we just had a disagreement.
Right.
Or we're not seeing it exactly the same way.
So what I'm hearing, first of all, is don't take small things. What right looks like in a marriage is make little things.
Yeah.
They just are. It's a blip. It's a human nature. It's not a catastrophic event.
Yep.
And I think the other thing I hear you say is that it's okay to have some competition. It's okay to have differences, but to be loving and civil and respectful about that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is again, we're a team.
So, okay, I love this too.
Yeah.
And we do not think alike.
Yeah.
No.
Our brains are totally different in the way we tackle certain obstacles.
Mm-hmm. Even in the way that we brainstorm, in the way that there's just it's a nice marriage because it's so complementary in a lot of ways. Because I'm really detail oriented and he's very big picture, and so we can really complement one another like that.
Yeah.
But he's right. There's
and she allows me those strengths, and I allow her those strengths.
Yeah.
And we identify them.
Right.
And it's in relationships these days. They really, not everybody, but a lot of people just go into a relationship thinking that it's going to be roses.
Right.
And then they
or that it's supposed to be.
right.
Or that it's supposed to be. That's
That's
a
right.
really big thing. Yeah.
That's right. And they they didn't live with each other.
Right.
But now they're living. It's like, okay, we have an hour or two a day. Depending on how integrated the relationship is. But then they get married and they come together every day.
Every day.
Right.
Right. And then they're like, wait a minute, I didn't know this about you.
Right.
I didn't know this
Yeah.
about you. But we again being on the same team with the same goals. Okay?
Yeah.
And her avenue towards getting to some of those goals and my avenue towards getting to some goals are different, and we understand that, and we crisscross all the time. But I'm okay with her having the direction that she goes.
Yeah.
And she's okay with me having the direction I go.
Love
And
it.
it's not a hindrance. It's actually, like she said, it's a compliment to each other. And we really work hard at complimenting each other and identifying. Nobody wants a weakness.
Right.
And
Especially me.
but
Yep.
but if you're on the same team and you can be honest with one another about the weaknesses
And be kind about them. You know,
Right.
I mean, it makes a difference when if you're giving someone constructive feedback and you're like,